So basically the name of the parsha, of this week's parsha, is Va'era. Va'era actually comes from the Hebrew word Va'era, and he appeared, God appeared. And just a little bit of a background, Avram just had his Brit Milah from last week's parsha, right? And he was pretty painful at the age of 99. And he was sitting there in front of his tent, and actually God wanted it to be extremely hot, excruciating hot. Nobody is out there. So Abraham is having a revelation. Va'era, God revealed himself to Abraham. Actually, it says beforehand, God revealed himself on a minor level to Abraham because he didn't have the circumcision. And then at the age of 99, all of a sudden he decided to take on this new phase in life, newfound, level of growth, which we'll speak about. And because of that, as a result of that, God appeared to him. A revelation. Right? And the ultimate revelation, who doesn't want God to reveal himself to him? In fact, there's a story, just quick pause on that. There's a story about the Tzemach Tzedek when he was, the Rebbe Rashab. Basically, he's the fifth Rebbe. He was a 5-year-old child, and he came to his grandfather, the Tzemach Tzedek, and he said, I learned today with my teacher that God appeared to Abraham. Why doesn't God appear to me? That's what the little 5-year-old boy asked his grandfather. Why doesn't God appear to me? And this is the answer. It's a beautiful thing. The answer is, he said that, you know why God appeared to Abraham? Because he goes like this. Because at the age of 99, right, he decided to now take on another level of growth, and because of that, it's fit that God appeared to Abraham. You understand, right? So God appeared to Abraham because he didn't stop growing in life. So yeah, please. Okay. He didn't stop growing in life, and even at the age of 99. And actually, the Rebbe just says in parentheses, but the Rebbe says about this story that the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot says that at the age of 100 goes through the phases of life of an individual. At 5, it's this, and at 10, it's that, and at 13, it's that, and 20, it's this, 30, 40, it goes through all of our life journeys. And what do they say about the age 100? Kilu met ubatel mina olam. It's as if the person passed away from this world. Even if they live in this world, but right?
Yeah, because age of 100 you can't do it.
You can't do a lot of things, exactly, and it's as if you are
met.
But I think it's more than it's more of a spiritual thing, because if a person reaches a level 100 actually
nobody listens to, יש אנשים, אבל בכללי 100 אין כוח.
No, but the age of 100 is also a spiritual age, that at the age of 100 you already maximized life. In other words, the 100 is keter, is crown, right? We have the 10 sfirot, and then we have so because you're out of this world. If a person is is not challenged in this world any longer, so then you're not living, and that's right. And therefore that's even considered life. So right. So at the age of 99, which is one away, basically, he did well in his career. Abraham, he started at the age of 3, but he went through life very, very steadily. And then at the age of 99, he's taking on a new phase, something new, a circumcision. That is a crazy thing. That is an unbelievable thing, and that's a mark of a person who is growing. That regardless what they've achieved, what they've done in their life, not to say I could now retire, I have a beautiful career, I could write a biography on what I did in my life. That's it. No, you're not done. As long as you're still up, not over. As long as you're still up, you're still alive, that means there's still an opportunity to move and change and to grow. Every single moment of life is a gift. Every single moment of life is an opportunity to now grow. And Abraham took that opportunity very seriously. He didn't say, I'm 99, right? So that's the answer of the grandfather, the Tzemach Tzedek, to the grandson, says, why did God appear to Abraham? Because we see if a person changes like that at the age of 99, then
They mirrored it.
then he deserved it. He's deserving of it. But just another kind of like side point on that. Again, it's not such a side point, but we also see from the question of the child something very, very special. That the little child, 5-year-old child, is crying. Why didn't God appear to me? And the lesson from that, actually, the Rebbe extracts, is that we should, regardless of our age, because we could be a child, we could be at the age of 90 and be a child, right? Or a child could be older than a person who is, golfing in Boca Raton, Florida or something, who are not so wise and really old, and right? Because spiritual years are not necessarily the years on your passport, right? You could have a little child, and very, very special, right? Old
Especially
man.
in Judaism.
Yeah, very special. And by the way, the Zohar says about they talk about this child is called the Yenuka. The Yenuka, yeah, he was a baby. Yenuka in Aramaic means baby. Yenuka, like tinok. And this little child actually said secrets of the Torah. The Zohar says to the great rabbis, to the children, to the students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. They were like, "What? Who is this?" He was a big soul of a reincarnation of Rabbi Menuna Sava. Doesn't matter, But he was this reincarnation, and he said like the deepest parts of the Zohar by a little child. So anyway, so a child, and we're all children, but we should all feel the intensity and really desire that God should reveal himself to us. And if we're not feeling that we want that, then we're missing something, and we're a little bit like maybe not, you have to check in to see if everything is already okay, and we're not really asking, God, reveal yourself to me. God, what is this all about? Like, go beyond our roof, beyond our box, and we're not asking for that revelation, then we're stuck. And that's the lesson of the child. So both lessons we get over here, right? The grandfather's answer, age of 99, somebody's asking, and the lesson of the child crying because he learned about it, and why is it only for him, Abraham? Am I so bad? I also want God to reveal himself to me. Why am I, gypped off? Why don't I get the full, deal?
Right.
And it's so
He's right.
We're just laughing so nice. Hashem revealed himself and spoke once, and then they all said, No, Moshe, you go to God. And he was so correctly done.
The Moshe, yeah, but that's the thing. Every single person.
They give you sorry to interrupt. They give you, we refer it to Tzemach Tzedek.
No, the child was the Rebbe Rashab.
Right.
Rashab, Shalom Dov Ber. Yeah, and the grandfather was Tzemach Tzedek. So now going back to the story. So Avram has this great revelation, we just spoke about. Great level, 99, reaches the next level. But then something unbelievable happens over here that throws a whole curveball into understanding the situation. Because what happened? All of a sudden, he sees 3 people in the distance. And Avraham says, oh, wait, God, 99 years to reach this level. He says, 1 minute. I got to go over there. And you could just imagine, I was like, what? You're going to leave me? That's rude. Yeah. But he's like, no. Wait, I have to go and I have to invite these people in. He doesn't know who they are. No clue who these people are. And they happen to be, they look like Arabs, like nomads. And, most of them were idolaters. They did Avodah Zarah, which is why they washed their feet and whatever. But to just drop the whole revelation thing to go to something else makes no sense. Right? And everybody asks that. Everybody says that. And the Talmud says that from there we learn Gdolat Achnasat Ochim Yoter Kabbalat Pnei Shechina. That means it's a greater level to invite guests than even speaking to the divine presence of the Shechina. It's a greater level to invite guests than even speaking to than having a communion, a oneness, a revelation with the Shechina. Which, once again, 99, he's reaching a very, very high state right now.
And it's very difficult to imitate how Abraham. Very difficult. Try to open the.
But this is the lesson over here.
Try to open the door of your house and see all the guests with a smiley.
Yeah, the 10th of Av, unbelievable. By the way, Avram, they did historically. By the way, you should just know that he affected a quarter of the world. Was affected by Abraham. It wasn't such a big world. Yeah, no, but he shifted the consciousness of a quarter of the world. Of a one God, believe in monotheism. He did the one-man show, did the whole thing. So this is the point over here. That a quarter of the world.
3/4.
Okay, a quarter is not so bad. No. But a quarter of the world were affected by Abraham's one man job. That was a one-man operation that he shifted. Imagine who has an influence on a quarter of the world nowadays. I mean, how many billions are we in the world? How many billions?
Don't believe in.
I don't know. What are we? 10 billion?
Don't believe in Abraham.
How many people are?
So it's like for one person to affect 2.5 billion people and to shift their consciousness and belief. And it's going to happen. I mean, Mashiach is going to do that. But it all started with Abraham. So this is what's explained, right? To understand this idea, this concept of what is the higher revelation, really, we have to understand the whole idea of the mitzvot being in a physical body, in a physical time, in a physical space, which in a sense looks like it's a lower level of a revelation because it's physical, because somebody is doing something physical. However, that physical act of whatever act that a person is doing has within it the highest form of a revelation. So, and it goes like this. The mitzvah of before the forefathers, right? Before the Torah was given, before the world was given, before the Torah was given. Okay, Steve says the world population 7.8 billion. Okay, it's still a lot. So 2 billion.
That's 7.4.
7.4 billion.
4.
Okay.
Oh, we have a guest.
Hello, beautiful Neshama.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
You know, it's modern world.
Yeah, it is.
Hello.
Yeah, we're all in Monterey. Yeah, we're all in Tzfat. Unbelievable. So, the revelation, right, before the Torah was given, they said the forefathers did all the mitzvot. They kept all of the mitzvot. But they did them, it says over there, mitzvot were, before they did them, were on the level of rechot. Rechot. L'shemen turak shemecha. Right? It says that beforehand, they were called rechot. What's, right? But after the Torah was given, they're called shemen. Afterwards, it's like the oil itself. So a question that's asked, what's the difference between smell and the oil or the food itself, right? When you walk into a kitchen where especially before Shabbat or before there's any tasty food that's being cooked, you smell the beautiful smell over there. It gets you hungry. You know something good is happening, is in the air, but you feel good. You feel good, but you don't feel really good at the end. You feel hungry, right? Until you taste the actual food. Once you taste the actual food, then you're not guessing anymore if it's good or not. You know that it's good, right? Because you've tasted it, physically ate it. Right. So the mitzvot before the Torah was given, and they were performed by the forefathers, they were performed by Noah. Noah performed the 7 Noahide laws, and they were added. The Noahide laws were added, and then finally the Abraham, right, who's called the Hebrew, he added to those mitzvot, and he actually he had it, but Ruach HaKodesh, he knew spiritually, he was the most in tune individual. This is what the Rambam says, but Kabbalah speaks about Avram, that Avram was plugged into existence, and he knew that at this particular moment needs to be this mitzvah. Why? because the world was created through the Torah. God looked into the Torah and created the world. So the lens of the Torah is really, through that, is really where the world emanated from. So therefore, every single day, right, there's a spiritual connection that needs to be done. And Avram was in tune with it, even before it was actually brought down into the world in a physical way, right? But beforehand, whoever is in tune was in line with it on the spiritual level. That's what mitzvah. By the way, the word mitzvah means a connection. It means a connection. Spirit. That's what a mitzvah is. A mitzvah is a spiritual connection which connects down into the physical world. But before the Torah was given, before the mitzvah were brought down in a concrete way, they were done on a spiritual level, and Abraham was in tune with that. But he was in tune with that on the level of smell, on the level of smell, and you know that there's something spiritual there, right? But then after the Torah was given, it was felt, and it was eaten. It was, right. It was the shemen, turak shemecha. It was the actual thing itself. So now something changes over here with Avraham between last week's parsha and this parsha. And what changed? The circumcision. Because the circumcision it had to be the first mitzvah that Abraham performed. Why? Because it's the only mitzvah which is on the physical body, right? And it's a mitzvah that actually is with the person their entire life, the circumcision. And the circumcision, the Brit Milah, what was a sort of hachana, was a preparation to all the mitzvot that were going to be done in the future. So therefore, God changes Avram from Avram. You were this person before, but now you are Avraham. Now with a Brit Milah, you're changing your whole essence, because now you're not just a spiritual person, Avram, father, that's Ram. Ram means exalted, very, very high level. He was a very high soul that was able to be so sensitive. And now you're being Avraham, and he brought the Hey into his name. And the Hey has to do with the tangible, the physical. The Hey is Avlekol Haolam, right, for the whole entire world. But the Hey in Kabbalah, according to Kabbalah, has to do with the Sfiyat HaMalchut, with kingship. It has to do with the tangible, the Masi, the action. And what changed all of that? The circumcision. So circumcision was a post-giving of the Torah action that Abraham took. So after doing that, Abraham was sensitive all of a sudden to the physical aspect of the mitzvah on a much higher level. Whereas beforehand, mitzvah is something spiritual and is connecting to it spiritually. Now all of a sudden, it's like, I thought that everything was up there. Now I realize everything is down here. And this is exactly what happened over here. Avram is speaking to God, Shekhinah, divine presence, and he's having a communion with him. But then he says, wait, I have an opportunity to do an actual physical mitzvah and to take 3 hungry people, feed them, give them physical food, give them, right? And it says that he gave them tongue. He gave them like really best, part of the animal. And not just that, each one had their own like whole tongue. Oh yeah. Yeah. And he shechted 3, right? He slaughtered 3 whole yeah. But
Like the Bedouin.
3 whole cows, right? And to serve them that. And he gave them mustard, like a really good, I don't want to get anybody hungry, anybody that's not vegetarian.
I thought that mustard was
we didn't eat the meal.
I think for food from today's mustard.
So
not in the age of Abraham Avinu, mustard. Ketchup, yes, no.
No. It says he had mustard. No, ketchup is for Americans. This is for Americans can't live life without ketchup and orange juice. in the morning, first thing, there's the orange juice, and then you have your ketchup with
With alcohol.
with everything.
With everything.
So it's a tough life. So
The three guests that are coming.
So now things change for Avraham. Now all of a sudden he realizes the advantage, the ma'ala of the physical mitzvah, and the physical mitzvah has within it a higher level of revelation, the higher level of revelation. So let's just expand upon this a little bit more. From this point on, actually, Avraham continues his business. What's Avram's business? Avram's business is to call out, like we learned last week's parasha, Vayikra b'shem Hashem kel olam, that he called out to the God of the heaven. Vayikra Hashem kel olam, to God, they called him the God of heaven, the God of the world. That's what we learned in that last week's parsha. So on that, actually, the Midrash says, don't read it Vayikra, that he called out, Ela Vayakri. He caused other people to call out the name of God. And he caused, don't say that he called out, he said, hey, there's a one God. He was doing that, of course, and he was preaching, he was teaching monotheism to the rest of the world. But don't read Al Tikri Vayikra, Ela Vayakri, that he caused other people to also call it out. Because who's the greatest leader? Well, what's the sign of a good leader? That not just he influences, but he causes other people to also be miniature leaders, and for them in their own right to continue to do that, right? Like the Rebbe, for example, he shifted the world. Why? Because a person isn't just a follower, but now this person is a leader as well.
Right.
And now this person is causing other people to be until everybody's calling out. And this is what the verse says about Avram, Vayakri. So how does he do it? How did Avram do it? So how did he do it? Go ahead.
Okay, what it was is when people would come to his tent, he'd invite them in, he'd give them a beautiful feed, and he'd said, okay, I don't know how much shekel value it was, but you've got a choice. You can pay 800,000 shekels for your meal, or you can give thanks to the one God above and your meal's for free. So they had a choice to either thank Hashem for the food, or you can pay for it. And so people would thank Hashem for the food. Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, he started off after the meal, basically. He was like, okay, so now let's give thanks. Mm-hmm. To what? To who? To what? You're like, to God, to the one God. They're like, we don't believe that stuff. Oh, okay, so no problem. He racked up the bill. He said, to meat, it costs this much, but we get to get it imported to the desert. You have that fee, that extra fee. And then to get mustard or whatever, to get these, vegetables, it's not in stock, but for me it was. I have to add that on. He added on all these, prices till they were like, what? I have this, $500 bill for a dinner. It's like, yeah, if you believe it's all me, so then you have to pay me.
Yeah.
But if you think that it came from God, then they thank God. And so that's what it says. Cause them to now thank God, the one God. So how did he, and actually it says over there, Vayita Eshel. That actually, what did he do? He planted a eshel. What's an eshel? Eshel is a tree, literally. It means a tree. But eshel is also there's a couple of opinions. One opinion is that he actually planted a whole orchard, not just one tree. He planted a whole orchard in the desert, So people are there, they're enjoying, they take a pomegranate, they take an orange, and beautiful achnasat ochin. Don't just do it halfway. Beautiful, classy way of doing it. So that's one opinion. The other opinion is Vayita Eshel. Eshel is the acronym of Achila, Shtia. Some say Lina, some say Levaya. Right? So Achila, Shtia. So he had big inns of people eating, drinking, right? Achila, Shtia, and sleeping there also. And then afterwards, he accompanied them. He walked them out of the house, took them to where they came from, walked them a little bit. And that's the way to do actual achnasat ochim. Actually, opening up your house is actually that in this way. So through that, Avram opened up this business. That's Avram's business. Avram's business was he was a self-made man. He was wasn't running for office. He didn't need a salary. He could take just $1 for for his job. So Avram wasn't in it for money. He was already self-made billionaire. But he had an agenda over here. The agenda was to call out the name of God.
He has a lot of money.
Yeah, God made him rich, so he didn't have to worry about that.
Money.
Now I know
Yeah.
the sisma of being strong in emunah. Make me rich. I don't worry about nothing. I believe in you.
Yeah, but Avram didn't start out rich. Avram started out with 10 tests, and and even within the test, to trust in God. That's again going back to the age of 99. You're already you're always continuing to work. So even with riches, he was tested with his son, and was tested with many other issues. So things are always going on in life. Person. You think, oh, person's rich. They're all good. They don't have any problems. No. It says, the Gemara says, a person Adam bekav shelo yoter mitisha kavin shel chavero. Person could have, their issues there, what we call pekala, like problems. But then, and you'll say, well, maybe I'll take that person's life, what they're living. But you don't know what their issues over there. And it may seem easier, but at the same time, a person still doesn't want to change what he has, because a person would rather have their own challenges. What he knows already is my challenge. This is my issue. Than somebody else's issue. I have no clue what's in that bag over there. I'm not gonna be able to. So in other words, like, Avram was rich, but that is not the recipe for a life of stress-free. So going back to the idea of like the physical mitzvah and the physical like achnasat ochim is actually where it's all about. It's all about actually doing the physical act of giving. The physical act of giving is the highest form of revelation. So we explained, okay, before the Torah was given, it wasn't like that. But now after the Torah was given, it is like that.
Even in general, when Adam noten,
when a person gives, so then there's
give, or when God?
No. When a person gives physically to someone else, that is the highest form of revelation. So let's understand that a little bit. So the idea of spirituality is not always synonymous with kedusha, with holiness. People think that spiritual, ruchani, means that's holiness. That's not necessarily holiness. A person could be very spiritual, but very selfish, because they're trying to be their own spiritual, be in their own like aura of whatever, don't walk in here and don't walk there, don't touch my cup because you may get it unholy with I don't know what. In other words, there's a lot of things which are very selfish. And that spirituality is not kedusha. Kedusha means, what is the ultimate of kedusha, of holiness? Comes from the word kadosh. Means what? What's kadosh? Nivdal means separated. Kadosh means separated. That's what kadosh means. Kiddushin, when a husband proposes to a wife, it's called kiddushin, because now he takes her off the market. She's off the market. She's kadosh. She's off. She's separated from anybody else's,
And how is
reach.
he separated to the nations?
Kedoshim, right? You would be removed from all the nonsense that everybody else is doing. That's kadosh. So being removed doesn't always feel so spiritual. It's not necessarily always the spiritual feeling that person's feeling. I'll give you an example. like many people, when they walk, let's say in an airport, they see, you know, or, you know, the idea of, you know, people putting on tefillin. They're like, what's going on over here? Like, why do you put on these boxes over here in the airport or whatnot? You know, like what is that all about? And that's not necessarily something that seems spiritual, that a person would like readily say, oh yeah, you know, let me do that. But a mitzvah does not mean spiritual, but it means it is kadosh, that it's coming from a level of kedusha. And it means that a person that does a mitzvah, they're doing it and they're separating themselves from the rest of, unplugging from the rest of existence and plugging in to the one that commands the mitzvah. So they are nullified, they're batel, they're nullified to the will of the one that's commanding them to do it. So that reaches a higher level than my spirituality, feeling the light, right, and the pleasure of that spiritual feeling of God, of even God, of energy, right, or whatever it is. Feeling that the divine energy does not always mean that it is the ultimate right thing to do. When do we know that it's the ultimate right thing to do? When it is commanded, when it is actually
613 of them,
right? And it's once it's commanded, that means that now I know that the divine will, which is way higher than what I could ever feel, correct? Like as spiritual as a person is, right, they can't tap into God's Ein Sof, the way Kabbalah calls them, divinity. Can they? It's like taking my cell phone and saying I'm going to plug it into the, you know, the source of electricity in you know, in my city or in my country. So I'll plug it in. It's going to burst the whole thing and me and I don't know. God, extremely dangerous. You can't. God forbid. Yeah, but it's right. It's extremely dangerous. You can't do that. Right. We're not able to touch God. It says, you know, we can't do that. Right. Kedoshim Tiyu. It says, how do you do that? Actually, they say, how are you supposed to be kadosh? Ki kadosh ani, because I am holy. And the way to do that is actually through the commandments. It's through the nullification and the doing. And the doing actually is the revelation through the physical world. And from the perspective of the physical, we don't know actually what we're even accomplishing through a mitzvah. Because actually, Tanya says that if we knew what we accomplished through a physical mitzvah, we wouldn't be able to take it. It would be like, it would be so much. And he says like this, he says, we don't even know what we're doing when we're speaking words of Torah. This is when words of Torah are spoken, there's angels that are created. And you don't know that power of that. We don't know, we have no idea, right? Person does a physical mitzvah and they do the physical mitzvah and they give somebody a shekel. So that little shekel, what did I already do? But giving that one shekel has the ability of it's so powerful that our souls are not even able to take it. So therefore it's milubash, it's like revealed and it's like hidden within the physical, that we just do it physically. But that physical giving has the highest level of a revelation. It's the highest point of revelation. And in fact, so much so that the angels right, are envious of us humans in this world because we have the ability to give, right? And souls that have already departed, they're in the world of truth, right? They are envious. And it says when a person goes into a Beit HaChaim, into a cemetery, and they walk with a tzitzit, for example. So it says they're not supposed to walk with a tzitzit, they're supposed to hide the tzitzit, right, underneath their clothing
the envy
of the deceased, of the people that have already passed away. Why? Because they're like, oh, what would I do for just one more chance to have the ability to put on these strings, which cost, I don't know, how much did they cost me? 40 shekel, 50 shekel, I don't know, whatever it is. But for 50 shekel or whatever it is, I'm receiving endless amount of dividends that I don't even recognize even what I'm doing.
I have a question.
Yeah.
We're talking about revealing. You talk about revealing, you're talking about something that is hidden and something happened and now you can see it.
Oh.
That's a revelation. So, I don't know, I'll give you a shaker. Where is the revelation? Where is?
When 10 minutes later someone says to you, hey, okay, I'm down to my last
Good.
shekels, and they throw you 160 shekels.
So I wanna tell you a story. That's right, by the way. Very
It
right.
happened to me at the shul.
Yeah. Very, very right. So 1 second. So good. So we're 5 minutes. We'll get to that. I just want to say a story. The story is about the Tzemach Tzedek also, that he was on his way to shul, to Beit Knesset, in the morning, and somebody approached him. He said, "Oh, today's the market day. That we do in that like a market day that they did business there." So he said, "Please, I need to borrow 3 rubles so I could buy this merchandise and sell it, and So can I borrow from you 3 rubles?" So the Tzemach Tzedek said, "Yeah, sure, but why don't you come to me after prayers, after davening? I'll be more than happy to give it to you." So he walked into the shul, and he put on his talit, and he said, put it on, and he was thinking, I didn't really do the right thing, because maybe this person needed the money right there and then because he needed to buy the merchandise early, so he could, sell it, and he's wasting time now that till the end of prayers. So he took off his talit, right, and he went to his house to take those 3 rubles, and he found the man in the marketplace, and he gave him the money. And then he went back to the shul. He put back his talit on. He put on his tefillin, and it's not a conventional prayers. It was a tzaddik, and and as he closes his eyes, he feels the soul of his grandfather, the Alter Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe, right, the Baal Tanya, that revealed that came, and he saw him like these right tzaddikim are able to learn from souls of the departed. That's actually one of the ways that God reveals things. Talking about revelations through Elijah, Eliyahu Navi, right, are learning with souls of different tzaddikim that passed away. And at this point, he was learning. Mamash from the Alter Rebbe came to him, and he saw him, and he revealed himself like in a way that he hadn't done for years and years and years. So the Alter Rebbe said to him, "Listen, I want to tell you why I'm revealing myself to you like this, because you helped this person out. You gave the person 3 rubles." He says, for doing that, ani betzedek echeze panecha, like through giving, ani betzedek, through tzedakah, echeze panecha, I will see your face, I will see God's face through giving tzedakah, I will see God's face. So through giving this tzedakah, even 3 rubles, not such a large amount, said all the gates of heaven are open for you. And you had you opened up all the gates that I was allowed to come in and just reveal myself to you like freely, without any restrictions of.
Yes, ways to give tzedakah, not only with the money.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just a story with that. So here's another story.
I'm thinking I don't have a lot of money. How can I do tzedakah?
You could give tzedakah you have a beautiful smile. So in a beautiful,
Here, tzedakah.
Yeah.
Where is the revelation?
Good. There's actually a story in the Talmud beautiful story about Eliyahu Navi takes one of the rabbis, I forgot who it was. He takes him through the marketplace, through the shuk, and he asked him, "Who over here is mi ben olam haba? Who here is the person of the next world that has that's a holy person?" So they looked around. This person looked holy. And Eliyahu Navi says, "This person." And all of a sudden, he saw these people. They looked like, like regular, simple people. They were called the Badchanim. They were like made people laugh. He said, these two people are Bnei Olam Haba. They have the life of the next world. It's like really? They don't look like so holy. Yeah, you know what they do? They make people happy. They go around and they see, let's say, a situation where somebody's a little bit has a hard time or whatever it is. They go up to him. They make they throw a good joke. Yeah, they throw a joke, a comedian, line or whatever it is. They break the ice, and then the person feels better, and it gives them life, right? So smiling to a person is a tremendous level of tzedakah, which most people don't.
They don't do.
They don't right, or they don't take that seriously enough. And actually, one of the rabbis of
אוהב צדקה ומשפט. אוהב צדקה. הקדוש ברוך הוא אוהב צדקה. אני אוהב מילה צדקה. because צדקה, מילה צדקה. It's justice. It's like,
yeah.
מבין?
Yeah.
Justice.
Yeah.
From heaven.
That's right.
So אפילו בן אדם, there is no other option, but tzedakah give a spark. That's the revelation.
That's it. That's the revelation.
We got it.
We got it. Baruch Hashem. So one more story about the Alter Rebbe, because we said about tzedakah. So there's many levels of doing tzedakah. Giving a smile is one level, but here's a story of the Alter Rebbe. Very amazing story. It was Yom Kippur night, and the whole congregation, right, is waiting, and Liadi is waiting for the Alter Rebbe to come in. And he's not there. Kol Nidrei, it's already getting late, and the Alter Rebbe is not showing up. And they wait and wait. And finally, like an hour later, he comes. And they pray. And then after the prayers, they found out that the Alter Rebbe, on his way to the synagogue, heard cries of a baby. And he said, what's going on over here? And it was a mother that just gave birth, and she was there by herself, because all the whole family went to be by the Alter Rebbe for Kol Nidrei, and they left the mother there and the crying baby. So the Alter Rebbe said, I can't, the mother's not feeling well, and there's a baby over here. So he went in, and he actually went in and boiled the water for her and made for her on Yom Kippur, made her drink, gave her milk, and gave her all those things, right? To basically saved her, right? Saved her life, and he did that on Yom Kippur, right? On the holiest day of Again, Yom Kippur is like the holiest day of the year. You're saying Revelation, talk about God revealing himself to me on Yom Kippur. We're like angels, right? We're all white, no eating, the whole thing. And the Alter Rebbe said, 1 second, this person needs help, physical help. And that's the real revelation. And isn't this so true? Because we think that the revelation is somewhere else, but sometimes the revelation is like right in front of us, that we need sometimes to do the mitzvah which is close to home before we go and do a mitzvah which is like far, far away, because it's very, very easy to do something that is spiritual. We feel good from doing things which are outside of ourselves, instead of doing the mitzvah which is right here, which is right there, which is obvious next to you, that you need to like actually do. So, which doesn't seem like a revelation. And I'll tell you this from think of being a husband and a father, but sometimes Baruch Hashem. So that sometimes it's like easier to have a revelation. You go out to a scent, or you go out somewhere else, and it's great. But then your kid is asking for help for help in this and that, or your wife is asking to can you do this or take out the garbage. It doesn't always feel like the greatest revelation. Taking out the garbage is like, hey, I'm a rabbi, I'm supposed to be, learning this and that. But And I'm talking to myself, by the way, as because it's something that all of us have to like shift. Where is the highest revelation? The highest revelation is actually, the wife says that this is kedusha, kedushim. I need to do this. So then God reveals himself to me through this experience, which doesn't seem like it's such a spiritual experience, but in that experience is actually where it's all at. And this is the revelation.
Revelation of Chesed.
Revelation
of you are Kabbalist, I know. Which Sefirot is being revealed. When you give
the sphere of being a good husband, right? Of being of common sense, of doing the right thing, of
happy wife is a happy life.
But they say being a mensch. There's a word in Yiddish, being a mensch, being a person. And there, there's 4 parts of the Shulchan Aruch.
It's difficult to be a person surrounded by how do you say animals? It's difficult if you are surrounded by a lot of not bench people.
Mensch. Well, that's it. Adam. We have to become an Adam, right? Okay. And there's 4 sections of the Shulchan Aruch, right? We have Orach Chaim, we have Choshen Mishpat at the end, we have Yoredea, right? And we have Even Ezer. 4 sections of Shulchan Aruch. But then they say that there's a 5th section. What's the 5th section? It's common sense. It's basically a person uses their common sense in what needs to be done at which time, right? And so again, going back to Avram Avinu, and going back to that story of Achnasat Ochim, Avram Avinu recognized that with the physical act of Achnasat Ochim, he's actually achieving much more than the spirituality that he would be reaching. Now, it doesn't mean that reaching spirituality and is not where it's at. It is. I mean, we're supposed to strive towards that, but if a person is into that more than the actual concrete level of giving, so then the person has to check in of maybe you're into the spirituality more than you are about, and it's more about yourself than about than God, right? And that's the whole litmus test of doing something. Actually, it's a halacha. When there's a mitzvah that can't be done by others, or then you have to drop even your learning of Torah to go and to do it, because everything's about the performance of action. Now, regarding your question before, so where's that revelation? So the answer is, Tanya says in chapter 36, says as follows, says everything, all the mitzvot that we do are right now in the physical world, and they're stored. It's just that as we said before, we can't experience them fully physically, because if we would do that, we wouldn't be able to exist, right? But they exist right now, right? And they will be felt, right, when Mashiach comes, right? That ultimate highest revelation. All of a sudden, we're going to see the effect of all the physical mitzvot that were done in this world up until now. It's like a massive, light, right?
That's changes the
massive, right? Of allowing that light to now come into the world.
And that's what changes to the Dazmi Shabbos.
To the highest, right? So that's the highest form of revelation, which we are going to ultimately feel when Mashiach comes. Right. So when a person knows that,
we come to Sfat first before he goes to Jerusalem.
That's right. And when a person knows that and has pleasure in that, and has actually, they do what they, with the physical mitzvah, with simcha, with joy, like it says about the Arizal, actually, from Tzfat, that all the levels that he reached was only because he did all the mitzvah through joy, through simcha. He did a physical, he put on the tefillin, or he gave tzedakah. He made sure that it wasn't just like a rote thing, I did it yesterday, I did it. He was like, wow, I'm doing something. What am I doing? I am revealing God's essence in this world, in the physical world, through this Asher Kiddushan, Hashem Yichud, Kudsha Brichu, Shchinte, Leachada, Yudke, Bevavke. That's so Hashem Yichud before each physical mitzvah that we do. Leachada, Yudke, Bevavke, B'She. Huge things, which some people say that Hashem Yichud before doing a mitzvah, because that's what's going on over there. In the physical mitzvah. So by doing that with simcha, so then a person like can receive that revelation in this world. So that's the answer, that the Arizal reached as high levels of spirituality as a result of the way he performed the physical mitzvot in this world. So he didn't reach a high level. He was who are we to even talk? The Arizal, highest soul. The soul of Mashiach,
Which
right?
books do you study from the Arizal?
Eitz Chaim. The Eitz Chaim, that the Arizal,
what's the name?
Eitz Chaim. That he was in Tzfat for only 2 years. Tree of Life, for only 2 years. The Arizal, right? And it says if the Arizal would have been alive, if he would have been allowed to live a little bit longer, he would have transformed the whole world to do tshuva. He would have brought Mashiach at the end.
It's amazing.
He died at the age of 38.
There's one mitzvah I heard about that I didn't know. And it's to do with the fruit and vegetables in Israel. I heard that the grocery stores, they take some aside, they hold it for 2 days, wrap it, that was supposed to give to the Kohen.
Right.
Then at the shuk, they don't do that.
Right.
So I just want to confirm, because I didn't know, and I haven't eaten anything from what I got from the shuk. So I've got some nuts.
So 1 second. Let's just I'll tell you after the class.
Cool.
So this is where it's at, right? So we've got what we need to do is what looks like something very mundane and whatever it is. Within that is the highest revelations, but it's not enough that you're doing it because it's just a good deed and you feel good from it. But you have to do it because it's God's will. And you're doing a mitzvah because it's Hashem's will, and being nullified to God's will, and doing that out of joy, doing it with a joyous heart, not just doing it begrudgingly. Then that opens up that very high level of kedusha, right? To now become revealed within the person's heart, So anyways, may we all achieve that, doing our mitzvot through joy and through helping each other, helping others, and ultimately may we see that revelation here in this world with the coming of Mashiach, where all those lights were just happening mamash very soon.
Everybody helps each other, but nobody.
I'll tell you a story just to finish off with. I studied. I have a master's in special education, and I studied in Manhattan. So I used to take a train to Manhattan from Brooklyn. Some from Long Island. I used to take it to study at night. Okay. So, anyways, on the a lot of times you take a subway, right? And in the subway, oftentimes, a lot of interesting characters come in, and this person came in, and an African American came in, and he started to say, "Yo, man, who's got some money over here? Who's come on, who's that?" And everybody's like, what is he gonna do? The money's going to buy, cocaine, whatever it is. Nobody gave him, and I was thinking probably he will, but then I felt kind of bad that I didn't do anything. I didn't give anything. And I promised to myself that, next time that this happens, I have to be the brave one to give it, right? Because everybody's there sitting there reading their paper on, it was before everybody was on their phones all the time. They were, on a magazine, paper, whatever. Nobody's even looking at the person. So I promised that next time I'm going to make sure to, to do something. And shortly afterwards, somebody, another guy, maybe it was the same guy, came in. Yo, man, can I have anybody could spare change, for me? Walked around. I was like, yes. And I take out $1, and I gave him $1, $1, and the whole cart of it. And all of a sudden, people next to me saw this, and another person gave $1, and somebody gave a quarter, and he went around, and it was like the ice melted.
Yeah,
the ice melted.
Exactly.
And it takes a brave person to go and to say, well, this is the whole city's cold and ice, and these people are, such as thick, but for me to do that, right, to show that, to show how it's supposed to be done. So then what I do is I model that behavior for others to do.
Right.
And
yes, but you told something very interesting for me, at least. Because you can give with sameach, setov, mamash.
Yeah, exactly.
When you give with love.
Yes.
But when you give to fool the other ones to believe that I am a chesed, Ben Adam, oh, Gabriel, it's a chesed. But in my heart, I really don't want to give.
It doesn't matter. That's still good.
Doesn't matter?
No, that's still good. That's still good. It's the highest level to do it through joy, but you know what? It's a very hard level to reach because God says God tests us through charity because it's very difficult to give charity because a person says, I earned this, I did this, so why should I give? It's a very, it doesn't make sense, because you think it's for me.
It's mine.
But one second. But when a person does give and he forces himself to give, so then that level of giving is, even if a person doesn't do joy, it's a positive thing. It's a beginning, but then you can't all of a sudden reach the highest level. It starts with step by step. You go through a madriga. There's the Rambam says it's 8 levels of charity. Eight levels. It's still good. It says in the Rashba, Chuvot Rashba says that it's even good to write people's names on walls of plaques. This person donated this room over here. This person gave that over there. You think, what do you mean? Why do you want his name over there? Showing off what he's doing. But it's brought down in the books, in the halachic authorities. The Rashba says it's good to do that. Why? Because it's mefarsamim oseh tzedakah. Because you see, it's a good thing. Because other people are going to say, I want to also give tzedakah. Maybe a person he never heard of the Arizal, doesn't know more about charity, doesn't know all these things that much. But he's like, you know what? I see this guy, he earned all this money and he gave it towards this hospital, gave it towards this synagogue, this yeshiva, so you know what? I should also aspire towards that. I should also give towards that. And it's a good thing.
It's very complicated.
The highest level, there's a very high level of doing it anonymously, doing quietly. You don't want any of that because it's just you and God. Not everybody's on that level. Not everybody's on that level.
You can harm someone with giving tzedakah that he doesn't, deserve, or he's not in Ben Adam, in the Ben Adam. Lo seto. He doesn't do right things, and you go and give him
yes. You give him tzedakah, but you don't have to give. You don't have to give a ton. But according to many books, say for chinuch, for example, that tzedakah is meant to actually is more for you. So you don't have to give 100 out, but even if you give something, it shows it's breaking your nature, your human nature, human egotistic. It's not about the receiver. No, it's about you. It's about you have to find who to give to, Like just like a business person, you know, you have to invest in the right thing. So also in tzedakah, you have to invest in the right situation. You don't want to, 100%. So, anyways, so may we all merit to be givers and to be receivers at the same time, and to be able to give of any level of tzedakah that we have, and smile and kind deeds and whatever it is, because within that there's that level of ultimate revelation, and may we see the results of all that physical revelation with the coming of Mashiach and being now.
Amen.